You are listening to the IN-CJ podcast, Conversations about International Criminal Justice. Hi everybody, well our next news desk item is to have a conversation with Joris Colijin. And our focus is going to be on the Dutch experience of working bilaterally with a British university. Good morning, Joris. How are you?
Thanks for having me. Good morning. I'm great. Thanks.
Great to have you. Now, tell us about where you work and how you came to have a partnership with the Montfort University.
Yes. Well, I work in the Netherlands at the University of Applied Sciences in Utrecht. And my role there is the manager of a master's degree program, forensic social professional. Well, actually, the contact with IN-CJ was already before me. One of my colleagues already had contact, and at a certain point he came to me and he said, I have a very interesting a connection, which I think is very good for our master's program. So would you like to jump in and take over the contacts? And well, that's basically how it started. So from there, we got into contact with the Montfort University. And it came to our attention that there was a new master's program in development, and in one of the modules there was this desire to add an international aspect, and so that started the collaboration process, and we went from there. Yeah.
Okay. So exactly what happened over there last year? How did the two universities share the project?
Yeah. Well, basically, there was already a module at the Montfort University, which was more or less developed. We didn't have that yet, that kind of module. So we basically worked together to detail the module so that it would be suited as well for the British learners as for Dutch learners. Notably, for the Dutch learners, it was not part of the standard curriculum, but it was offered as a postmaster course. So that required some fine-tuning in how the module was set up, and well, we managed that brilliantly, I think. And the end result has been a course that was most of the time it was a virtual collaboration between the British learners and the Dutch learners, and also between the teachers. And but it also included a visit from the British learners to the Netherlands and vice versa.
Okay.
So yeah.
Perhaps we should describe a bit what actual learning was. Were there shared lectures or classes, or how did it actually work structurally?
Yeah. So actually, the visits were of course, to a large extent, included excursions and lectures live. And in between those visits, we had the digital part of our collaboration, and that included different things. One of them was guest lectures by renowned leaders in criminal justice work from all over the world. And so we had those, I think, every 2 or 3 weeks on average. And in between, there were possibilities for the learners to work together on their projects, because in the end, also a group of, always a mix of British learners and Dutch learners, worked together on producing a podcast about an interesting topic and the international perspectives on that.
Okay, so there were small project groups producing a podcast.
Yeah.
So had to be made up of some Dutch and some British students.
Yeah.
How did that go? Because that sounds really innovative.
Now, the interesting thing is that we didn't have to put a lot of effort in that, because the students were very passionate about the topics that they chose together, and so they just naturally started working together on those topics and produced some very nice results. So I think the British teachers got some questions here and there, and of course we also invited Rob to give a guest lecture on how to produce a podcast, which was also very interesting. So we facilitated them, but they didn't need a lot of stimulating to go to work on that. So it was very inspiring.
Have you done anything like this before with two universities collaborating on a module?
Not in this way. No. So we had some exchange moments with other universities, but most of the time that's either a couple of days or a week, more like conference style, but never a module of this length. No.
So what do you think were the most memorable sessions from your point of view?
Well, I think, of course, the visits were very special. So it was very nice to start off in the Netherlands to get to know each other and see each other live. And unfortunately, I couldn't go to England, but I heard that it was equally memorable experience. So that's certainly one of the highlights. And for me personally, also the speakers from all over the world, so the leaders in criminal justice work who kindly gave a lecture to us, that was also for me very special. I think from the learner's perspective, also the collaboration on the podcast has been a highlight. So yeah.
And perhaps maybe also telling our listeners about what type of people were the learners. Most of them were criminal justice practitioners who were experienced in the workplace.
Yeah. So from the Dutch side, there were certainly all experienced professionals already with a master's degree. And also the British learners were all very experienced. So they already started. They already had their experience to build on. So I think that was very valuable. Yeah. So it was certainly aimed at the part-time students who, with a lot of working experience and a relevant job also. Yeah.
So what do you think the learning benefits from the Dutch participants' point of view?
From what I've heard, it was very inspiring for them to a certain extent, not only learn but also be confronted with a different reality. And I think that's one of the things that the international experience always add to developing innovative capacity. Also because it forces your brain, to think outside the box that you're used to being in, because you know your own country, your own rules, your own procedures, and you're very used to them because you're very experienced. But to be confronted with a different country with different norms and different standards, but also different organization of the work, that is very I think it stimulates mainly the innovative capacity of those professionals.
And from the group of your colleagues, so from the academics in the university, you worked with colleagues from the Montfort. A lot of planning because everything was new. How did you experience that working virtually to set this up?
Yeah, well, I mean, to a certain extent, it was a similar experience for us as it was for our learners, and one that I was already a little bit accustomed to, having worked also in Germany and Italy. But again, it's like sometimes it's just the small details, like how many credits is the course, and do we use the same credits as you, and the time and place of meeting. That was also always it kept us very sharp, I think. But I think also the way of approaching education, I think we saw a lot of differences in that. For example, Oh yeah, one thing that was striking for me was what does it mean to have a reading list? You know, for us, a reading list was something that this is the list of literature that you have to learn for your exam. Whereas for the Montfort, it was more like, you know, this is our advice on what to read. It had a very different status, and it took us a while to figure those details out, I think.
And so advisory or compulsory, and
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So the De Montfort people came up with a list that was 25 pages long, and people.
We were like panicking, you know, how on earth are they going to read all that?
Well, learning from the British point of view as well. Yeah. Well, so this was a pilot. What do you think 2026 or the future might offer, Joris?
Well, I think we want to keep the spark alive, so that's something we already said to each other. So I think this international experience and learning across cultures is something that we need to cherish and continue. We're still figuring out a way to do that, since, you know, the demands from our respective organizations differ. Funding is an issue, so we're trying to figure that out. I think what we want to do either way is keep seeing each other and keep organizing inspiring events once in a while. And then we're going to try to see what comes from that, if it will be possible, for example, to gradually increase the number of countries, number of universities that participate in this, and also the way in which we can offer it as a course, which is also sustainable for everybody. So. It's a bit of a puzzle still, but yeah.
We're going to work on it together from the sound.
Exactly.
I think the other thing that the group of academics wants to do is to use IN-CJ to be a hub for bringing other academics together who are working on postgraduate programs.
Exactly.
And can we say to everybody out there, watch this space in 2026? Because when the Dutch and the British get together, you never know what's going to happen next.
That's true, John. So exactly. We'll keep you posted on our progress, and of course, also the other way around. You know, if you get inspired by this story and you think, hey, we want to join in right now, feel free to.
Write to Joris or write to John Scott at IN-CJ. And we'd be delighted to hear from you. Shout out your email address so people can find you, Joris.
Oh, well, it's my first name. You can see in the screen. Dot last name at hu.nl.
So if you can't get that, contact us at IN-CJ and we'll get you through to Joris. And it'd be great to hear from you. So I think that's all we wanted to catch you up with the news from Utrecht and Leicester. So I think it's goodbye from me.
Yes, thanks a lot for listening, and see you.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
You have been listening to the IN-CJ podcast, Conversations about International Criminal Justice. To find out more, go to our website at criminaljusticenetwork.net or follow us on Twitter at IN-CJ Network.